Welcome to the Tech Matchmaker, the show where contact center challenges meet their perfect tech match. I'm your host, Gina Gibson, and in just 15 minutes, we serve up the smartest, coolest innovations shaking up the contact center industry. Whether you're searching for your next solution or just love staying ahead of the curve, we've got the insights to keep you in the know. Let's dive in and discover what's next. I promise you, it's going to be fun. Good morning, everybody. Today we are chatting with Sarah Freeman, who is the Director of Cloud Services West from Sky Data Vault. Sarah, welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you with us here today.
Hi, Gina. Thanks for having me.
So let's start with the basics. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm reluctantly to tell you that I have 21 years in the tech industry. I started with an HP reseller way back in the early 2000s. I have a networking background, infrastructure background, and I'm a crazy cat lady.
Love it. I was just going to say, we always ask somebody something that we wouldn't find out about you on LinkedIn, and I'm guessing crazy cat lady isn't one of your qualifications there.
You know, it might not be. I definitely keep that stuff off of LinkedIn, but I'm certified.
Love it. Give us your elevator pitch for Sky Data Vault.
Sky Data Vault. So we help businesses eliminate the risk of data loss, costly downtime by ensuring that their critical information is always available, protected, recoverable. Our clients sleep better knowing that their operations can continue no matter what happens, whether it's ransomware, whether it's human error, system failures. And we do this with our private cloud infrastructure, backups, disaster recovery, and SaaS backups.
Excellent. And why do you think, why has data access and not just storage become such a critical issue for modern organizations?
Ooh, that's a really good question. One, right, we're talking outdated equipment where you need people on site to manage these things. So putting stuff up into the cloud makes it easier for dispersed teams to work on things. And I think that's probably one of the biggest. I know AI has a lot to do with that. Where are you keeping those workloads? How are the people working on it? So I think between those two things, the cloud industry is, especially private cloud, is ramping up to have a really big season.
And then how do you guys, how does Sky Vault Data, how do you differ from traditional kind of data loss prevention or security tools? What is, for somebody that's kind of I think I'm covered. What would you say, hey, here's our differentiator and here's why you need us?
I hear that a lot, and I think it's because teams are shifting. So we're a managed service. We're not just a software provider, and that's what a lot of companies have is a software that they manage to do their backups, or they're building their own recovery site somewhere, whether it's in-house, they have a server that's ready to plug in, they might have it at their house or in a different location somewhere, but really the management of that, and that's where we make a differentiator. So we're not just a plug and play software. We manage that for you, and we take those workloads off of the business plate so that those people can concentrate on making the business function and also modernizing it.
I love that. What's next for Sky? How do you see your product evolving or your role in the managed space evolving with, how is AI impacting you?
You know, it doesn't. It just makes us grow. So I get this question a lot. It makes my job easier for my day-to-day stuff that I use it for. But in terms of customers, it really doesn't have an impact. We're not doing anything special. We don't have any plans to. We're infrastructure. We're kind of the boring side of technology, but we're your security layer. So say that your customer is about to embark on some large AI project, right? You want to back that data up before you start messing with that data. Say you build whatever server to handle an internal language model. Where are you going to store that? How are you going to protect that? How are you backing that up? So really, we're not making a shift in the AI, although we're shifting, and how what I see over the next couple of years is very fast growth. We will definitely, I would say doubling, and I was looking at my numbers and no, actually we're going to quadruple within the next 2 years because, again, you need to protect your data. You're moving workloads into the cloud, and that's freeing up the time for your internal, whether you're application specialists or your cloud technicians, your people on staff, we're freeing up their time to be able to work on those AI projects and put them into place.
And you touched on something a little bit, Sarah, and you said, I know you hear it all the time, but for those people that don't think they need to worry about storage, and I know when you and I chatted last week, I think you said something, and it was really good. You said, Microsoft doesn't back up your stuff. AWS, it's not backed up. Or can you talk a little bit about maybe some misconceptions that people have where they think they're being backed up or they think they're being saved or that it's secure and really it's not?
Well, yeah, because a lot of companies, and I'll extend this into, it really becomes applicable when we're talking about SharePoint and companies that use SharePoint a lot. Yeah, we want to save our email. Yeah, we want those. I'm sure I have 10,000 emails, right, stored up just in case I need to pull that email at one time. But it's really more so the data, your SharePoint, your OneDrive. A lot of people come to me and say, oh, yeah, it's in OneDrive. OneDrive isn't a backup. It's just a repository, right? It takes it off of your local computer and it puts it in the cloud, but that's not backed up. And it explicitly states on the Microsoft website in their CSA that they recommend you use a third-party service or software to back up your data because they're not responsible for it. If there is data loss, you cannot call 1-800-Microsoft and say, I need something from 100 days ago. I need something from 300 days ago. It just doesn't, it's not there. And that extends beyond Microsoft too. We have other SaaS backup products. If you don't mind me talking about it,
Absolutely.
we've expanded, if you're okay with that, we've expanded into Salesforce and Entra ID. So for Salesforce, it's really opened my eyes. You think about that. That's your CRM, but a lot of that is custom critical for a lot of companies. They function everything off of Salesforce. They have their UCaaS. They have their contact center built into it. They have a lot of customizations built into it that have cost thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. And those customizations are, if you're not backing up that data, if you're not backing up that meta, who is? How is that saved if Salesforce has an incident, if you have an angry employee, if something happens and that data is gone, you don't have a way to recover that. There's no safety net for you. Entra ID is another one too that's very interesting, which is it used to be called Azure Active Directory. How are you backing that up? If that goes down, your people can't work. They don't have access to their systems. And if you lose it, which I've talked to a customer, their Entra ID got wiped out. They now have to rebuild that entire system. If they had a backup, they could just call us up and boom, we get it up and loaded.
That's incredible. And how impactful for a business, right? Like to your point, like how long does that take to have to rebuild? That's incredible.
Yeah, and that's when talking about backups, that's one of my favorite questions is, okay, you have backups. How long does it take you to restore from a backup? One of the first customers I talked to here, it's one of my favorite stories. He laughed and he said, oh, it'll take me 2 weeks. I said, okay, well, how much does that cost your company per day? And he said, I don't know. And he went and talked to the C-suite. He came back the next day. They could not sign that paperwork fast enough. It was costing him about $150,000 a day.
Wow. Is there any other customer success stories you'd like to share with us? Because that one's super impactful. That's a lot of money.
It is because it's that kind of thing that companies, that C-suite, right? They think it's happening in the background. They just assume that data is there. Mm-hmm. Another one that I really like is because we offer professional services on top of it. So we're a managed service. We can set up your infrastructure. We can manage your backups. We can, run a DR playbook and help you build that to make sure that you have a disaster recovery plan and that it's tested. But another thing we do is we add some professional services on top of that. So say my one specific customer, they wanted to migrate over to our private cloud, but this IT director had just come into the position a few months prior and inherited what was built prior. And the Active Directory that they had in place was not a suitable environment. And he didn't want to take that and bring it over into the new cloud and then have to deal with it. So we brought in our team as a service prior to that migration to help them clean up their Active Directory and some issues that they were having with it to make sure it was fully functional, it was exactly the way they wanted it before it came into our cloud. And that's really what differentiated us from the competition. They weren't able to offer that service.
I love that. It is. That's right. It's like white glove full service.
Basically. It is.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And I'm going to add the cherry on top. That customer went back, came back and talked to their trusted advisor and was happy with how easy the implementation was because it was white glove. So we do as much as we can for you.
That's wonderful. Is there anything I haven't asked you that you want to share with the audience as far as what services or anything else that you guys do?
I think that's it. It's a short portfolio and I love that and that we do it well. So between the infrastructure, the backups, one thing I do want to say, it's not just an all or nothing thing coming into it. We might be talking about your entire environment, but we don't expect customers, and they probably shouldn't just drag it all over and fix it in one shot, right? So we do a lot of what's called stretching into the cloud. So we'll start with some backups over here and do the workloads. And as maybe your contracts expire or your licenses come up for renewal, you start to move those workloads over into our cloud. And we call that expanding into the cloud, stretching into the cloud. So it's one by one, and it's not this huge overhaul. Now, sometimes that does happen, and we're really good at those. But essentially, that's really the best way to look at it and work into it. And eventually, you'll likely have your entire infrastructure over with us, if not some sort of hybrid option.
That's wonderful. I've always heard of crawl, walk, run, but I haven't heard of stretching, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, right?
That's great. To wrap things up, Sarah, I've always been a fan of James Lipton. And so to end the podcast, we do a couple of rapid fire questions. What's your favorite word?
Fantastic.
And what's your least favorite word?
I have a list of those. Can't is my least favorite word.
And what excites you the most?
Sunrises and sunsets. It really does. And helping people.
Love it. If somebody wants more information on using Sky Data Vault, who should they reach out to?
They should reach out to you, Gina.
Excellent. And I know you mentioned on another trusted advisor, and that's because you guys only work through partners, you said, correct, Sarah?
We only work through partners through our trusted advisor channel. That is correct.
Excellent. Sarah, I want to thank you so much for joining us today and for your insights and for your great stories. It was enlightening and wonderful to hear. So thanks so much for giving us your time today.
You're absolutely welcome, and thank you for having me.
Thanks for hanging out with us on the Tech Matchmaker. I hope today's spotlight sparks some fresh ideas and real solutions for your contact center. Want to dive deeper into the tech we featured? Hit up the show notes for all the links and extras, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if there's a challenge you want us to tackle, don't be shy, reach out. I'll catch you soon with more innovation, more use cases, and more ways to keep your business moving forward. Stay curious, stay bold, and keep exploring what's next.